But yeah, so a lot's been made about Zac Taylor since Sunday's loss. Obviously, the Bengals now 1-4. I'm a bigger Zac Taylor guy than most. I still wasn't a big fan of all his decisions that were made on Sunday. But I think that right now fans are very emotional. They're very agitated. They're very upset, and they want heads to roll, and they're pointing fingers in all directions. And obviously, we know, Anarumo, nothing's going to happen to him as of right now. Technically, when we bring up Zac Taylor, we know he's not going to be fired right now. You're not going to blame the offense. Obviously, that's the one part of the ball that is rolling at such a high level, one of the top in the league. But Zac Taylor, with all the heat that he has faced for the decision to go ahead, and of course, the 3 straight run plays in overtime. Yep. One of those, of course, was a change at the line of scrimmage by Burrow. But when I brought that up yesterday, you're right. There were still 2 other intended run plays. Okay, that led to this, and then it sets up a field goal. Obviously, we're talking about that now. Bottom line is when it's all said and done, the result wasn't what everyone wanted, not even what Zac Taylor wanted. But with all the backlash, with all the frustration, he was asked if he felt he made a mistake. Would he go back and change it? Does he regret the decision-making with some of the play calling late? Here's what Zac Taylor had to say.
I'm very reflective on things I can improve on. At the end of the day, the decision for me is we are in comfortable enough field goal range for Evan, and I don't want to do anything to disrupt that. And again, I'm accountable. I know that there's probably a lot of different opinions on how that could go, but at the end of the day, that's where it sits with me. Is you don't want to take any sort of negative play. Sometimes it can be a penalty. Sometimes it can be something getting disruptive on the play. And when I trust our kicker in that position to finish the game for us, like he has countless times, and I'm not putting the way that kick went on him by any means, but again, in every situation is a little bit different. We've been in those situations before. We've been aggressive and thrown the ball and tried to close out games that way. And yesterday, I felt that's where it went. But again, always think about it a million times. What would I have done differently? And I'm comfortable with where it ended.
So I've had time to reflect on this as well. For one, I know you're not going to be a fan of him doubling down. You don't change your mind at all about the decision that was made there to run it 3 times, and knowing you have for sure points in that situation. You have for sure points in that situation. I know people want to bring up, you took the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. You put the ball in Joe Burrow's hands to put you in a position to be able to come away with points. You were already in a position where you could come away with points. I mean, you look at everything right now with, of course, your kicker with Money Mac. You call him Money Mac for a reason. You paid him a lot of money for a reason. 3 for 3 from 50 before that. Last season, 7 to 12, 5 or 5 from 50 the year before that, 9 of 11 back in 21, including 3 of 3 in the playoffs. So we know how dominant of a run he had in the playoffs. The bottom line is when you think about that point of the game, now that we've had a little more than a day to kind of reflect on it, yes, Joe Burrow was rolling, and the Ravens obviously had no way of stopping him, no doubt. But you were in a situation where we have a guaranteed 3 points. We know our defense is probably going to give up points, but at the very least, we could pray that they hold them to a field goal. We can go down and go for a touchdown and end this now, but if we go down for a touchdown and a penalty happens and now we're out of field goal range, now we don't have a chance of coming away with anything. Or a turnover happens. A turnover happened on the previous possession. That's not a shot at Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson turned it over too. A lot of crazy things were happening down the stretch. It was chaotic. You have a guaranteed 3 points coming your way. Your kicker, Money Mac, had just hit a 56-yarder the week before against the Panthers. Like this, he's money from there. He's been money from there all season. The more I look back, I don't mind his decision-making at that point. I know that's not a popular stance. I completely get that. I don't think it's wrong to say you wanted them to be more aggressive. But there's a difference between saying that the coach was outright wrong and, man, I wish he would have done this. And I feel like it's a lot more of, I can't believe he's an idiot for trying to take the for sure points in overtime, than saying, oh, man, I wish he was more aggressive. And I feel like it's more of that. I feel like it's more people bashing Zac, saying it was a completely wrong decision versus I would have preferred something different. I get your stance. I don't think anyone's wrong in this case. I just think people are being way too hard on him. I actually like the justification when you go back and look at the situation. Coming away with the for sure 3 points is a lot better than risking a penalty and stuff that maybe is beyond Joe Burrow's control at that
I've
point.
come back on this quite a bit. I think you absolutely have to run the ball on 3rd down. So that takes one of them off the table. You have to center it if you're going to kick a field goal, regardless of whether you pass or throw or pass or run on 1st and 2nd down. Even if they're incomplete and you're in the same position, you have to run the ball on 3rd down to get it to the center of the field. And now we know Zac Taylor called the pass on play 1 that Joe Burrow audibled from, or at least that's what Zac Taylor said, and we have no reason not to believe him in that case. That now leaves us with one play where we disagree on running or passing. I would have thrown it on second down. Zac Taylor chose to run the ball. I'm not going to kill him for that, and it's because of the snap and hold. I think the snap and hold gets Zac Taylor a lot of leeway here, because if Evan McPherson misses a perfect operation, then we can kill him for the missed field goal. If we get the first down, we're still missing this field goal with the snap and hold. Evan McPherson kicked a ball that got put down 0.1 seconds before his foot hit the ball, 50 yards. He would have made that field goal, and I know you can't say that, but I'm going to say that. He would have made that field goal with a clean operation. Now, have we had issues with our operation for basically since Clark Harris got hurt? Yes. So you play for a closer field goal because you know the operation isn't a sure thing, even though McPherson might be? Absolutely. And that's where I still certainly agree that we should have been more aggressive. But I still boil it down at this point to second down because he called the pass on first down. It was audibled by Burrow, which we all agree Burrow should have the ability to audible whenever he wants. Then I think you have to run it on third down to get it in the center of the field to give McPherson the best chance. Was he scared to pass it on second down? Maybe. I think at that point we're splitting hairs. If you get that hold down with a clean snap, you make the field goal, you win the game, no one's talking about the play calling. If you're closer and you botch the snap, then no one's still talking about the play calling and you still miss the field goal. So I've softened on this quite a bit over the last 24 hours.
My issue isn't that he ran the ball 3 times. My issue is that what helped them get to the point of 38 points and forcing overtime with Baltimore was the pass game. That's how you got there. That's how you scored as many points as you did. You were successful. Your offense looked good because of the pass game. And now we're just going to run it 3 times for the first time all game. That's not play calling to me. And I know the one was Burrow. It's not play calling to me. That's quitting. You quit. You're forfeiting and you're taking the points. And he keeps bringing up it's money Mac range. It's money Mac range. I know how good Evan McPherson is. We all do. But Evan McPherson, a 55-yard field goal, I don't care what kicker you are in the league. I really don't. Justin Tucker 5 years ago, prime Justin Tucker, prime Adam Vinatieri. I don't care who you are. A 55-yard field goal is not automatic. It's not. I don't care if it's 70%, 80%, or for Evan McPherson, it's more like 90%. You got to that point in the game by throwing the football, and you openly didn't do that 3 straight times. I think that was quitting. I don't care that he missed the kick on a bad snap because you set him up for that. Throw the ball once, maybe get a first down, and keep marching. I would have been okay with a 40-something yard field goal, 40, 45-yard field goal, 44-yard field goal. But settling for a 53, 54-yard field goal can't be the play.
Call a better first down play so then Burrow doesn't have to basically call a run play when there's 9 guys in the box. Like that still is bothering me that there is a play in our playbook that's designed throw where they can't find a guy open or it's not a good look when there's 9 guys in the box. What are we doing? What sort of call is that? So that's where I have a little pushback on because it's not just the fact that the play was changed on first down. Yes, he tried to call.
What's the design that you can't throw with 9 guys in the box? Yeah, no, that's definitely a valid question. I understand everyone mad about play calling and everything like that. How is it quitting, though? I don't understand that at all.
I don't think it's
you're giving yourself the best chance you think at that time to win the football game.
The best chance you have to win the football game is to leave it to Joe Burrow.
In your opinion, Zac Taylor thinks the best chance you have to win a football game is to bang a 53-yard field goal. So it's not fair to call it quitting because it's not.
I actually think that's more aggressive. I think going the 54-yarder, that's actually more aggressive.
Right.
People say settling. I'm like,
it's not that's not a lack of aggression. It's just aggression on special teams, not offense. It's not quitting.
I think you're quitting on offense if you settle it and run the same straight run play 3 straight times.
But a penalty. You keep saying
quitting doesn't make sense to me because that means you're giving up on winning, and they're not.
Sure,
they're doing what they think gives them the best chance to win the football game.
But you're not running an efficient offense. You are doing the same exact thing over and over just to try to inch your way to a closer field goal. The choice has already been decided.
I don't think they were trying to get closer.
So you're saying then why didn't they kick it earlier? That's the part I don't get.
Yeah, you can't kick it earlier from there.
If you're going to kick it,
you should for certain.
Not from there.
If the whole point is we're going to
53 to 60. If you muff that snap, right?
Yeah, but you kick it, then you kick it on first down if that's how you feel. So then you have second and third down to move the ball again, center it up again. Because he already kicked the 56 in Carolina, right? So, that's why I was trying to get at what's the difference between a 56 and a 53. You just
Well, it'd be 53 and 60.
It
I
was,
know, but
it
if
was
you
ev-
did it on first, if he was in field goal range, you try to kick it on first or second down, so then you have at least one more down to.
Oh, you're
move
saying bring the
ball.
offense back out,
Yeah.
try to gain. Yeah. I'm not as much a fan of that, but I understand what you're saying though.
It was evident that once the Bengals recovered that fumble, it was going to be a field goal.
Correct.
That was decided. And my point is, it can't be decided when you're at the 40-yard line. You have to try to get a little bit closer.
And that's all. I completely agree and understand that take. As soon as you throw the word quitting in there, I'm out. Because you're doing what you
It's just
think
the
is the best
philosophy.
chance to win the football game.
I think you're quitting on
his
Joe
mind-
Burrow. I mean, you're not giving your best player. You're choosing Evan McPherson over Joe Burrow.
No, because
Correct.
but I do
But I don't
think
think that's
he's
quitting.
still
But I don't think that's quitting.
I
Yeah.
still think he's also trying to protect Burrow there too, because there are things that could happen outside of Burrow's control. For one,
again,
for one, a turnover that you could say is in his control. But what if a false start happens? Now you're back further. Now you're out of field
That's
goal
why you
range.
that's why you kick the field goal on first down. All these turnover arguments that gets negated when you can kick the ball
Simple
on first
handoffs.
down.
You've been running the ball real well too. You pick up
can't
2 or
do
3
that from
yards.
where they were though.
But you could have. You 100% could have.
I
Certainly could've.
100% disagree.
If
Because
you-
you fall on that snap at 60 yards and no team in the league brings their offense back out and runs it again. You do that because you leave the field goal unit out there and you run the field goal again. And if you fall on that snap, you're out of field goal range. So I don't think that's an option. That's an
Well, you
option if you
certainly could have
pass
done
and
it
get a
on
first
second
down.
down. You certainly could have done it on second down. You can run on first down, and then
But
pick
if
on
you
second.
fall on the snap, I don't think you're in field goal range anymore. I think the
But
the,
you'd still
the
have third down
but
to
you still
move
you'd
the
still have the
ball.
next down.
You still have
no
the
one
third
does
down to
that
throw.
though. This is
Sure,
fantasy
sure,
land.
sure. No, I agree. Nobody does it. But the argument that anything can go wrong, so let's run the ball 3 times, it works the other way too, because Jeremy Hill did this. That was the same thought Marvin Lewis had
Right.
when he gave it to Jeremy Hill. That was the same exact thought, and something bad happened. So I think if we're going to do this, then I think you have to look at Zac Taylor and say, you said I'm settling for 3 points no matter what. The rest of these 3 plays, they don't matter at all. My point is, why run on them? Because that's a risk. All 3 of those runs are a risk.
I'm willing to take that minuscule risk of a fumble on a run up the gut. Yeah, over kicking it on first down.
I know you
out
lose-
of field goal range on a muff snap.
Sure, and I know you lose those 7 yards, but again, like Casey said, you get another play. And if you said that's not good, well, at least you get to punt it and pin them back and pin it back there, and we can settle for a
I
tie.
am 100% more comfortable with what happened on Sunday than muffing a snap and punting it back to the Chiefs or back to the Ravens.
And that's fine too. I'm not saying
because that would be quitting.
sure, it 100% would be. But my point being is that I think there was a better option than the one Zac Taylor decided on. Zac Taylor, during his time as a Bengals head coach, 10-21 in the AFC North, 22-22 at home, 0-3 at home this season.
That's fair. Last thing too on this as we wrap up the radio side, because I want to continue this, but the other problem I have with all of this is that decision's not made if you have a semi-competent defense. I don't think
1,000,000%.
100%.
So that's like this is why I brought up yesterday, like we're willing to give Burrow and a lot of guys the benefit of the doubt for mistakes when they happen, far and few between. But when they happen, it's like, well, yeah, look at everything they're having to do to overcompensate for the defense. I still give Zach a little of that because I think that decision that was made that everyone's criticizing, that doesn't happen if you have a defense you trust. That was like, well, damn, Joe Burrow, we know he can move the ball, but man, we're a false start away from being out of field goal range, and now we don't have any guaranteed points, and now that sets it up to where the Ravens just need a field goal to win it. If we at least come away with 3, we just got to pray that we at least hold them to a field goal to get Joe the ball back. There's a lot that went into that. Zach doesn't always make the right choices, no doubt, but again, we don't have to agree with it, but he at least had the justification. He was right. They were in MAC range, and they just paid that guy a lot of money during preseason to make those kicks, and obviously that was taken away from him with the botch snap.
I know a guy they paid a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
slightly,
Couple.
slightly.
To get him in that range, and he did.